Alright, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for your unbelievable amounts of patience. We are back with a temporary solution. Cuddlebear is still getting spikes of pings constantly. You're apparently blaming me for it for whatever reason. But the way that we're going to do this is we are going to, well, I'll talk about it after I do the intros. Spawning up here in the top left-hand corner of the map, we have the green Terran player from Rival Gaming, a really solid Terran player, but still struggling with a bit of that ping. We got Cuddlebear. And his opponent spawning down here at the bottom right-hand corner of the map, the Canadian, the blue Zerg player from Psystorm Gaming, but living in Korea right now, alongside Scarlet and soon-to-be Neeb. Give it up for NoRegreT. Also known for his aggressive play. But Cuddlebear is definitely going to be at a bit of a disadvantage just because of the ping. Like, I hate to say it, it's not something that I usually like to talk about, these outside factors that are out of our control, but realistically, he is getting fluctuating ping somewhere between, I think, like 100 to 800 or 900 is the maximum I've heard it go up to. So I am hoping that things will stay on the lighter side for him. I think right now we decided to resume the game because it was sitting down at just 150 to around 200, which is playable-ish. But of course, we had a very, very long chat. You guys can see, like, look at all this chat. So we were just kind of hanging out, talking, waiting for the ping to settle, and eventually they just said, you know what, we gotta go. Jake has a date tonight, so NoRegreT, of course. That's what I'm saying with Jake. Alright, well, we do have a Reaper opening over here from Cuddlebear. Cuddlebear gonna try and use this Reaper to eventually knock down the Rock Tower. That's not gonna happen anytime soon. But Zergling Speed is gonna be finishing up. Taking a look at the openings that these guys went for. Looks like NoRegreT decided to get up a fast Zergling Speed, is getting out a pretty quick Evolution Chamber and grabbing that gold expansion. Man, these guys are incredibly chatty right now, as I guess having all of that earlier time to chat just made them feel much more confident about talking while they're also microing. So that's just one of those things that I'm forever jealous of pros for being able to do, because I've never been able to do that. Cuddlebear, I will note, is a pretty good, like, solid player in terms of just playing straight up builds. I've seen him take games off of some good players with just very straight up, not hyper aggressive, not hyper all in builds, but he is going to be going for a Banshee with Cloak opening right now. I'm not supposed to talk anymore. Alright, gold expansion is being taken though for NoRegreT. NoRegreT is known as a very, very all-in player. Alright, apparently I'm being told to be silent. It only takes one player to tell me to be silent for me to be silent. Reaper is moving around and man, I'm really concerned that these two players are going to mess up some micro or something because they're busy chatting. So I'm going to really actually stop talking to them. I really don't want them to lose or have some sort of mistake happen because we're talking. Baneley Nest is going to be coming out though, and this is going to be followed up also by the Overlord Speed. With the Evolution Chamber also done this early on, NoRegreT is going to be in a nice position to potentially do some good old Overlord drop harassment. He's already maneuvering an Overlord down over to the south side, a good position for him to go for some drop harassment. The Reaper does spot this out, and there are a lot of Zerglings around. They're going to be able to catch that Reaper really, really nicely done. And they also try and charge in straight through the front. A really weird choice from NoRegreT. He doesn't trade out all that well. I think he gets maybe one, maybe two Marines, if there were two Marines over there that died. But a lot of Zerglings just flooding out right now off of just 45 drones. Drop Overlord also being made, and he is going to have the Banelings coming out pretty soon as well. So here are those 4 Banelings that we were talking about. But look at this. We have multiple Banshees being made right now. Hold on, hold on. There's not just this one starport. There's a second starport over here. And guess what? These Banshees are taking out almost every single one of the Banelings. One Baneling survives. But what is one Baneling going to do? One Baneling does not start two-shot or one-shotting workers until you start getting up the +2 melee attacks upgrade. So NoRegreT in a world of trouble now, as he has to not only deal with the 2 Banshees or the multiple Banshees that were making their way across the map with Cloak, but now he's not really going to be able to put on a whole lot of counter harassment himself. Another Banshee gets picked off. The Spore Crawler is done. That is helpful for dealing with this, but NoRegreT is also trying to morph in as many of these Banelings as possible. He's going to have to do the damage before the Banshees clean up his push though, and that is a very, very different push-in from what he was originally planning. The Banshees are moving in, but so are the Zerglings and the Banelings. It looks like there is an opening over there. He does go after the supply, or sorry, the bunker over there. Couple of Banelings make their way into the mineral line, and they do a lot of damage. Look at all that of damage done. So many weakened SCVs, but they are not getting focus fire down very easily by these Zerglings. Actually, the Siege Tank helping out quite a bit and taking out a lot of those guys. It looks like at the same time, the Banshees were somewhere over the third expansion, get a bit of damage done. One of the Banshees, two of the Banshees ends up falling, and at the same time, the last of the Zerglings is about to get cleaned up, but not before 26 workers are killed off. They're sitting at a dead even 30 workers each, but the stark difference is the fact that one, NoRegreT has a gold expansion and has so many spore crawlers that he should not be taking any additional damage to any more of the Banshees that are out right now for Cuddlebear, as well as all of this massive queen count that he has going for him, and even gotten a Spire to deal with all of that. But two, Cuddlebear lost not just his Zerglings, but he lost a lot of the Marines, and that really did cause a lot of problems for him. Because I don't know how he really recovers from this. Oh no, the Drop Overlord never got killed off either. The Banelings got killed off, but the Drop Overlord stayed alive, and that is going to be a potential opportunity to drop some more of those potential Banelings in, kill off even more workers than he already has. But I guess we have another Banshee. 7 Banshees out now. This is kind of insane. These Banshees are going to be tailed by the Overseer. Okay, the Banshee's not going to be tailed by the Overseer, but they are going to be enough to take out the Spore Crawler. There, the Overseer comes back. He got the wrong memo about the wrong location. But the Queens are in really, really high numbers, and that is the concerning part about this. NoRegreT moving back in with some Zerglings, not quite able to make a whole lot happen over there. But Cuddlebear, man, if he can do something with these Banshees, if he can catch NoRegreT off guard with the sheer mass of Banshees, taking out Spore Crawlers, 1 or 2 shotting Queens, maybe he can make something happen. Just maybe, but it's a big if. Oh, but here's the big timer that we were talking about earlier. The Spire is done. The Mutalisks are coming out. Once those Mutalisks come out, the Overseer tails these Banshees, and there's already Overlord speed research. There's no Banshee speed coming out. So this means that these Banshees are all likely going to die. This map is such a long map. It's a very long journey back home. 4th expansion is going to get canceled at least. But here we go. Cloak comes out. Doesn't really matter. Mutalisks are going to be able to focus fire these down. I really do feel like the best chance that Cuddlebear may have is splitting up these Banshees, but it doesn't seem like he's going to opt to do that. He's just going to go after as many of these Zergling kills as he can. And he's going to end up losing every single one of those very, very expensive 7 Banshees. As, yeah, there goes down the last one. It's way too long of a journey home to have any hopes of keeping any of them alive. Oh, Cuddlebear in a world of trouble. He does have a 3rd CC finished up, and he's been able to catch up in that worker count. NoRegreT has been really, really pounding out as many of these Zerglings, Banelings, Mutalisks, and all these aggressive units, and focusing on those, getting up +2 melee attacks, which is, again, this very, very important number where you start one-shotting workers. And that is so, so big if he had some getting out any additional Baneling harassment in. But, oh, the Mutalisks are going to be picked off. Oh, no, one of the Siege Tanks might be picked off. Mutalisks, well, the Medevac drops a Siege Tank. I don't even know what he was thinking over there. I guess maybe hoping that the Siege Tank would get a single shot off, assuming that the Medevac would die. But here we go. Looks like the Marines are getting fully surrounded by just purely Zerglings. No Banelings in the mix over here, but GG gets called. NoRegreT takes game number 1. It's been such a long time that my broadcasting software is now going to slowly delay as I show the victory screen. Boom. All right, that's a 1-0 lead for NoRegreT after a very, very long thing. And you know what? Just because I know we went on a very long break, so even though it's been a while since I played an ad break, I'm going to hold off until we finish up game number 2 before I go to an ad break. Game number 2, by the way, is going to be on what map? Let's see. Frost is going to be the map. Frost. Oh, well, at least it seemed like Cuddlebear didn't feel the need to pause because the lag was just becoming too much. So that is a good sign. I don't know if it's enough of a sign, but it is a good sign. All right, so we invite NoRegreT to the game. We invite Cuddlebear to the game. Okay, so it looks like Nathanius will also be joining us. So if you guys, for whatever reason, prefer Nathanius as a commentator, absolutely none taken. Feel free to tune into his stream, and we are going to be hopping into it. All right. I think that we are ready. NoRegreT's ready. Come on. Cuddlebear. Okay, Cuddlebear gives the go-ahead. We're hopping into it. Game number 2, the map is going to be Frost. We'll see you guys there. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we are in game number 2 of this qualifying best-of-5 match. First of all, I want to give a huge shout-out to Mubuntu. Thank you so much for the 6-month resub. But here we go. Spawning up here in the top left-hand corner of the map, the blue Zerg player currently sitting up 1-0 and representing Psystorm Gaming. It's NoRegreT. And his opponent spawning down here in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, the green Terran player from Rival Gaming. Give it up for Cuddlebear. And both these players tossing out the heart. Man, why can't we all just love each other, be friends with each other? Why can't everyone go to DreamHack Montreal? These are the thoughts that I sometimes think to myself. Oh boy. God damn it. I thought they were doing a legitimate check to see if I was in the game because they wanted to make sure they didn't just like start without me. But now I realize that I was the one that made the lobby. Oh god. Alright, well regardless, we do have natural expansion coming down from NoRegreT, so it's not going to be that type of all-in coming out from him. I say this in jest. NoRegreT, I think, has definitely come a long way as... He's come a long way as a player. He's gotten a lot better over a period of time. And he used to be known as this player that only was capable of all-ins. And the thing is, people joke about this, but NoRegreT has been making hives. Like, again, I say that as a bit of a joke, but realistically, he has been learning to play more toward the late game and not just try and win with the all-in. He's gotten better at taking advantages from early game aggression, because that is a part of his playstyle that he loves and he doesn't want to just give up. But he's gotten better at taking that aggression, taking the leads he gets from it, and carrying it on into the later stages of the game and winning there. So that tool in his arsenal, that tool in his belt, has made him substantially better as a player. But we do have first Reaper popping on out over here for Cuddlebear, trying to get some damage done. NoRegreT going for a hatch first is going to have a much more delayed Zergling speed compared to that last game, where I believe it was a pull first, although not an early pull by any means, just a pull first, if I recall correctly. It was a little bit hard to tell because we waited about 15 minutes between the game being made, the pull being thrown down, and then finally we paused the game and resumed. Okay, well, starport going up. Cuddlebear has been sitting on a, I guess, now getting up that natural expansion. So I was going to say, he's not been sitting on a one-base economy, right? Yeah, does have that starport going up. Has the reactor going to be swapping over to the tech lab. Oh, sorry, what am I talking about? Reactor swapping over to the factory. It's apparently been a long day. But should be able to get out those reactor Hellions pretty soon. It sees a bit more control of the map. Frost is definitely one of those old-school maps that I think it's one of those maps where shutting down the creep spread can be incredibly helpful. I know that there's been less of an emphasis on that creep spread in, especially not just like ZBT, but just in general in Legacy of the Void. It just feels like it's been less important. But when you have a player like NoRegreT who seems to love going for that Ling Bling Muta style, that creep spread becomes important again. And especially on a map like Frost, you have a lot of space to spread it out, even with these spawns, which are one of the closer spawns compared to, say, the cross spawn position. It can delay your opponent's push in or just give you better engagements. It's one of the two, depending on whether or not they wait for the creep to clear up after they scan to kill it. Liberator opening is going to be coming out, though, as the Liberator should be able to get a really nice position right behind or right by this statue. This is a pretty abusable position where Queens have some struggles trying to deal with it, and I don't see any Spore Crawlers going down just yet for NoRegreT. So the Liberator pops out, no Spore Crawlers down just yet. Will NoRegreT be prepared for it? For now, he's just busy trying to deal with the Hellions. He is going to be able to get close to a full surround, just barely ends up letting him slip past his grasp, though. He's going to end up losing quite a few Zerglings at the cost for that. and does end up having to retreat on out. Now, where is that single Liberator that was made? Liberator's already sitting in the natural expansion, sieging up in a good spot. The Queen is trying to get into a safe spot. It does find a really, really nice area. That 8 range Queen definitely working out quite well for himself. Oh, the drones go back to mining, and the Queen is going to go down. NoRegreT underestimating it. Is going to end up losing a couple more of them. The Hellions also roasting more of these drones. Cuddlebear is saying, you know what, you might be up 1-0 after that last game, but that was a weird build I was trying out. Didn't quite work out very well against you, but I'm feeling good about this game. 7 kills, gonna be able to kill off maybe another Queen. This Queen survives just barely. The Queens do survive by the skin of their teeth after taking 2 Liberator shots. The Liberator will eventually end up falling. Only 9 workers go down. That's actually quite a few. I was gonna say only, but it really is not an only situation. It is 9 workers total have gone down. Another Liberator sieging up. We only have 32 workers out right now for NoRegreT. He's going to end up losing 3 more to kill off the other 3 that he's making. But NoRegreT gets a nice area where he gets a big Zergling run by, is going to be able to potentially take out the bunker. The Zerglings are going to be able to go after the mineral line, though. I think that's the big story over here. Supply depot does raise at the absolute last second, and the rest of the Banelings come on in. One Baneling gets a good connection and kills off a lot of them, but at the same time, there seems to be a lot of damage happening over the main base. Liberator up to 11 kills now. Both of these players are just losing all of their workers right now. +1 melee Zerglings just decimating the SCV count, but will there be a response for how many drones have been lost to the Liberator? Queen has to move out of the way. Queen has to move out of the way. Queen does not move out of the way in time, ends up losing it, and now he has no response to the Liberator for a little bit longer. 2 more Queens exist, but they are busy trying to protect the natural expansion, the 3rd expansion, for the potential threat of the Liberator moving. NoRegreT has to go in for an all-out retreat and moving all those drones over, and the lucky thing is he is so undersaturated at these bases because of how many drones he's lost that he can afford to just move them wherever the Liberators are not. Oh boy, but what a weird turn of events. There is a 3rd command center finished up for Cuddlebear, though, and that definitely is going to be very, very nice for him, because those 3 orbital commands everyone always talks about, the triple CC, the power of triple CC. You can lose all of your SCVs and you'll still be in the game. Possibly a mild exaggeration unless your name is MVP, but still going to be very potent. Banelings are going to be exploding on in, busting through. 3 Banelings still left alive. The Marines have to be very careful to try and kill those off. They do only manage to get hit by 1 of them. 2 SCVs fall, and looks like NoRegreT is continuing to just pump out more and more Zerglings. Throwing out a couple of drones here and there. 2 drones here, a couple of Zerglings over here. Banelings being made, but it seems like this is going to be a Baneling drop. Now, +1 melee was researched, but not +2 melee just yet, because NoRegreT, I want to really, really importantly emphasize, does not have a lair. NoRegreT does not have a lair. You can't get up a Spire, you can't get up Mutalisk right now. He is in a world of trouble if he cannot deal with that. Looks like the Banelings are dropping in and getting a couple of kills, but not a whole lot of them. One last Baneling is going to try and explode. At the same time, though, the Marines do drop into the natural expansion and manage to get some pretty good connections, although the Baneling connection is also really solid, killing off 7 of the Marines that were in those 2 medevacs. And looks like these 2 players are just trying to out-scrap each other. There's just tons of scrappy play, both of them sitting on pretty much dead economies with a lot of bases to potentially take, and Cuddlebear just utilizing that 3rd CC, not really for mining at a third location, but really just focusing on trying to get out those additional SCVs and mules to try and catch up on the economic side. He does have 1-1 upgrades finished up, which is leading over the 0 Carapace upgrades that NoRegreT has, but Lair Tech is on the way, and once Lair Tech comes out, NoRegreT suddenly finds a much, much easier defense possibility, as he can potentially take out some of the medevacs, or at least push them back with the Mutalisks. But he is just relentless about this Zergling production, really not taking the time to get up to a nice, healthy drone count. He really wants to continue the aggression and not give Cuddlebear a chance to build up that army. He wants to make Cuddlebear feel uncomfortable. That is the name of NoRegreT's game always. It is always throwing his opponent off, putting him in an uncomfortable position where they do not have their normal game plan available to them. And this might end up working out. 6 workers have gone down just because of the Marines dropped over the 3rd expansion. Might even drop back out over in the main base, as there aren't a whole lot of units available over here. At least might end up losing an Overlord, but no, opts to go after the Queen instead, and is going to be rewarded for his troubles. But NoRegreT, having made all of those Zerglings, has not been able to be aggressive with them again. And that is what I think stings the most. Taking some of the worker damage, yeah, kind of sucks, but NoRegreT's probably used to just trading back and forth and having these kind of scrappy games. But not being able to do the damage back when he takes it is what hurts him the most. And now we end up seeing Cuddlebear at a nice 30 or 25 supply lead. Now, granted, a lot of that is going to be in the worker count. A decent chunk of it is also in the army count. NoRegreT doesn't have that many Banelings out just right now, and he is trying to rely on these Zerglings. Oh my god, the Zerglings allowing the Widowmines to do friendly fire damage, killing off a majority of these Marines. The Baneling gets another connection, and he should be able to clean up these Widowmines soon thereafter. 8 more drones do end up falling, though, and that is a very, very costly defense for NoRegreT. I don't know if that was going to be worth it enough. I don't know if he can bounce back from that. Now back down to 30 workers, 29 workers, still losing some here and there. And guess what? Cuddlebear is continuing the aggression, continuing to move out with more medevacs. And even as this medevac actually gets close to killing off another queen, he may be able to even get it. No, not quite able to. But as I said before, the next 2 medevacs are making their way in, are going to be looking for another opportunity to get some damage done. NoRegreT is once again trying to move out across the map, gets pulled back. No, now he's reconsidering. He's saying, no, I'm not going to let this pull me back any longer. I don't have many drones mining at that 3rd expansion anyways. I need to do the counter damage. He's going in for it. There are a handful of Marines over here. A really good Widowmine hit. Gets some massive, massive damage done to the Zergling count. And NoRegreT is trying to make the Banelings. He needs a large number of Banelings. The workers have to retreat on out. 3rd Command Center lifted immediately. If there aren't enough Banelings, then, I mean, it doesn't matter how good your splits are. You're just not going to be able to do anything about it. Oh no, the 3rd expansion is where the lair was taken. If NoRegreT doesn't defend this, he loses his lair. But, I mean, if he doesn't kill Cuddlebear right here, right now, he may be losing the game anyways. Oh, really, really cute play over here from Cuddlebear, dropping all those units over on the low ground, forcing NoRegreT to move over to the low ground if he wants to take on that army. 18 workers killed so far. He's doing a lot of damage, but he's lost most of his Banelings, and the split is good. He cleans everything up, and at the same time, NoRegreT loses his 3rd expansion and the lair. GG, Cuddlebear evens up the series 1-1. And even finishes up 2-2 right as the game finishes up. So Cuddlebear takes a pretty dominating game. Well, I would say it's dominating toward the end of it, but at the beginning of it, it was definitely much, much closer as those 2 players are just trading back and forth. But again, I would really say it goes a lot back to the triple CC. The triple CC gives you that extra economic edge where I think you can decide to play a little bit scrappier and continue to produce units that I think NoRegreT just wasn't able to do after he lost all those drones again. He wasn't able to continue the aggression and defend, whereas I think Cuddlebear was able to do so. Galactic Process is going to be the next map for game number 3. We'll get that game made. Alright. Inviting Cuddlebear. Inviting NoRegreT. Inviting Nathanius. Alright, we're also inviting Pig in, so damn. I don't even know how I'm going to contend with the knowledge bombs that Pig can drop, but hell yeah. Alright, so as soon as Pig joins the game, we will be able to hop into it. You can, but okay, so we're waiting for Pig to get in. I guess Pig is not accepting. Okay, just go then. I guess since Pig is not accepting the game invite, we'll just go. Alright, series is tied up 1-1. We are still a bit away from the ace match. That's not going to be happening just yet since it is a best of 5. But ladies and gentlemen, we hop into Galactic Process. We're going to be finding out who is going to be the player that gets 1 game away from match point. Well, Boris tweeting out saying that the stream is brought to you by #BlameRuby. Apparently you blame Ruby for everything. But here we go. We're hopping into the game. Players are ready. Everything's set. And we are going to be starting down here in the bottom left-hand corner of the map where I forgot to run ads. The player representing Team Rival Gaming. Give it up for Cuddlebear. And his opponent spawning up here in the top right-hand corner of the map. The red Zerg player from Psystorm Gaming. Give it up for NoRegreT. Well, NoRegreT going for the double extractor trick over there, and I wonder if this is going to lead into a pool first. I feel like this may very well be a pool first, maybe? No, he's building up way more minerals than a pool. I guess, yeah, he's just gonna blow them all in drones. I'm not as familiar, I guess, with the technical Zerg openings, and I know the Koreans do prefer to go for those extractor tricks and such. But regardless, we do have a hatch first coming out from NoRegreT. Gonna go for the gas, go for the pool immediately afterwards. And Galactic Process is something I've really got to say is a pretty nice map for Reapers. There's a lot of area where you can jump up into the main base. And that could be a potential concern for NoRegreT if, yeah, we end up seeing this is exactly what I was gonna say, is we end up seeing multiple barracks being thrown down, and we do have the 3 racks coming out from Cuddlebear. He knows how good of a map this is for that Reaper harassment, and oftentimes you could just mass produce Reapers. The Zerg player won't know about the Reaper opening, the triple barracks Reaper opening, off of just the first Reaper, but they do eventually figure it out after the second and the third Reapers show up. But the scariest thing about this is that you don't have to win off the Reapers. You can just get a massive advantage off the Reapers and take an expansion behind it, because the Reapers, just producing 3 Reapers at a time, yes, you will be using up a lot of your economy at first, but as you start to get more SCVs, as you start to get a better and better economy, you end up being able to take an expansion behind it and transition out into a more normal game where your opponent is going to be very far behind. Overlord moves in, and luckily this is a 2-spawn map, so that does mean that the Overlord can move in and eventually scout out that there are just Reapers being made, as he should be able to see the second Reaper coming out pretty soon. But first Reaper is going to make its way into the natural expansion, looking to see what damage it can do. For now, NoRegreT probably won't have too much of a reaction. Going to get up his queens, going to get up some Zerglings, nothing super crazy. But oh, there's the Spine Crawler, as I think he may have seen that second Reaper popping on out. He probably knows what's happening, and the Spine Crawler is a really, really nice reaction. I do love when Zerg players just immediately plop that down and don't really wait around too long for this to spiral out of control. Queen pops out, is going to be able to chase down some of the Reapers, and the big thing about this play, the big thing about this style, is that it's all about keeping your Reapers alive and letting it spiral out of control. Reapers will get shut down by Queens, just straight up. If they are just up against a fairly large number of Queens, or even moderate number of Queens, a low number of Reapers will just lose out to the Queens every single time. They'll do little bits of damage, but they have to retreat on out. But if you keep them alive, if you continue to move back and forth, push in and pull out, and continuously produce more and more of these Reapers. Oh, I love this surround. Almost gets one of the Reapers, but not quite. Ends up taking quite a bit of damage on those Zerglings as well. But if Cuddlebear can continue to make this spiral out of control, then this can do a lot. But there are no more Reapers being made right now. We have add-ons being put onto those barracks, so Cuddlebear is looking to transition out and just utilize these 5 or 6 Reapers to do as much damage as possible. And so far, he's doing a pretty good job of just forcing so many Zerglings out of NoRegreT. Now, these Zerglings do have speed, but 20 more Zerglings coming out, NoRegreT is going to be forced to do some sort of counter damage behind this. There's a command center that was taken behind this as well, and NoRegreT doesn't quite go for the full surround, although the grenades would have caused some problems for that anyways. That is the most frustrating thing about this, is that Cuddlebear can just continue to use the grenades and bait NoRegreT into trying to go for the full surround. And as soon as he does, those grenades will just plop him out and give him escape path. Third expansion does come up behind all of this for NoRegreT though, and I think this is the point where he needs to start either droning up or throw down a Baneling Nest or something. This massive number of Zerglings needs to do something as well. Deny natural expansion at the very minimum. And he should be able to make it here if he just guns it straight for the natural before the bunker finishes up. He should be able to kill off that SCV and pretty much guarantee that the natural expansion is not immediately taken. Oh man, the supply depot's lower. That's a huge mistake. And the Marines get fully surrounded. This could actually just be curtains right now, as every single Marine is going to go down. It's over in potentially just an instant. SCVs are starting to fall. And even though Cuddlebear had a small little worker advantage, that is very, very quickly dwindled. And with a Zerg on top of Terran production, I mean, leave a couple of Zerglings over in the main base, kill these Marines off as they come out. And what are you going to do? You're going to have to rely on these Reapers coming back in. The SCVs are not, they may not be dying all that quickly right now, but they are most certainly not really mining all that efficiently right now either. More and more Zerglings streaming across the map. We're down to just 18, 17, 15 workers and continuing to fall. The Reapers are doing a nice job of staying alive, but I mean, they can only stay alive for so long without really protecting their SCVs. Oh god, now doing a little bit of friendly fire, killing off his own SCVs down to just 10 workers. And NoRegreT just makes more Zerglings, because guess what? All he has to do is try and catch these Reapers. All he has to do is catch those Reapers, and he has effectively shut down all form of map control from Cuddlebear that exists. I guess the starport is finished up, so you can make a medevac, but I don't know what he's going to put in the medevac. That's the bigger, more pressing concern. Reapers make their way into the main base, and the Zerglings are out of position to deal with them, so they could get some nice damage done over here, or to killing off a couple of workers, and they should be able to chase some of them down. Spinecrawler may act as a defensive position where the drones can retreat to. At the same time, though, the Reapers are going to try and move over to the main base. Having these cliff edges, it makes it so difficult to deal with. The Reaper grenades go down to the low ground, but not quite able to save anything. The Reaper grenades are all on cooldown as well, so majority of them do end up falling. Only 2 survive. And behind this, he is still trying to just get up as many SCVs as possible, but NoRegreT still has a decent chunk of Zerglings, and he's able to drone up 14 drones in production right now. Going to be taking more than a triple drone lead over Cuddlebear pretty soon. Well, at least he has a wall in this time that's fully working and operational. A building supply depot can't be a lowered supply depot, as I always say. But Cuddlebear has got to find some way to counteract, do some counter damage, because NoRegreT knows that he's got a massive lead economically, so he's just going to try and carry that out a little bit further, get up his upgrades, get up his layer tech, take an insanely fast 4th expansion before his opponent has a 3rd. And if he does all this, excuse me, no. Oh my god. Swallowed my own excitement there. But if he does this, he knows that Cuddlebear really can't do a lot of counter aggression or harassment. So all he has to do is deal with very light bits of aggression, like a small medevac drop that has, you know, maybe a handful of Marines available. And as long as he deals with that, he can just get up to that late game and overpower his opponent before Cuddlebear can really try and take a 3rd expansion. That, I think, will be the name of the game for NoRegreT. But NoRegreT comes in with a large flood of Zerglings at the exact moment the 2 medevacs are making their way across the map. There is not anything close to enough units over here to defend. SCVs are going down. The bunker is going to fall. The Marines are going to try and get some damage done, but I don't even know if Cuddlebear is going to wait for this Marine drop to unload. He may even just tap out right here, right now, as the Zerglings are going to come flooding back to defend. He may be able to gun down the 3rd. I mean, that'll be nice, but he doesn't really know about the 4th expansion that's also already been taken. Zerglings are also coming back pretty gosh darn quickly, and they don't have upgrades just yet, but they're about to in a couple of seconds, as there they end up finishing up. Nice abuse of the high ground position is going to be very, very annoying for NoRegreT to deal with, but now the Banelings come out. And when the Banelings start coming out, suddenly this kind of cute medevac pick-up drop micro on both sides is not really going to fly nearly as long. No pun intended with the word fly. But another medevac drop, double medevac drop, comes out on the north side of the map. Oh, this might end up working out if Cuddlebear can buy himself enough time. I'm not saying that he's in a good spot, but it's a conceivable spot. It's a place where you can see Cuddlebear making this work, frustrating NoRegreT, getting him to forget his macro, getting him to stay on the defensive for so long that maybe he does end up taking a little bit too much damage, and it gives Cuddlebear a chance to start slowly rebuilding that SCV count. But he's got to trade very, very cost effectively right now, and so far the trades have been, for the most part, dead even. Well, here we go. Cuddlebear is starting to take a slightly better trade. He also has another drop over at the 4th expansion. The Zerglings come in over there to try and defend it. He is able to defend his 3rd expansion, moving over the natural expansion, but it looks like the Banelings are going to need to come in over here to force the lift up. At the same time, natural expansion is where the unload happens. The Mutalisks are now out on the map, and they need to start focus firing down those medevacs ASAP to stop this harassment from doing as much damage as it has. 14 workers have already gone down. These medevacs are starting to get a little bit lower on health. The medevacs are focus fired down by the Mutalisks, taking out one of the medevacs that do have all of the units inside of it. Other medevac does go down as well, and it looks like Cuddlebear has the 2 medevacs flying around the south side of the map, but this is going to be a much harder proposition. It's not now just dealing with the Zerglings and the Banelings, it's dealing with the Mutalisks that are out in non-trivial numbers. 8 Mutalisks, 9 Mutalisks soon, and 10 Mutalisks are going to be out. And those are enough to take out a medevac that runs out of that boost very quickly. He can now afford to split up his Zerglings to deal with one angle and use his Mutalisks to chase down the medevacs on another angle. And here we go, we're starting to see that. Another medevac goes down. Second medevac, guess what? It's unloading the units, it's not unloading them fast enough. GG gets called. NoRegreT takes the game and a lead in the series 2-1. All right, well, 2-1 lead. He's 1 game away from qualifying for the 2nd day of the WCS Summer Championship North American server qualifiers. But those games definitely started looking a lot closer than I think NoRegreT wants them to be. Especially that last game that was getting a little bit on the scary side. 4th map is going to be Frozen Temple. Yet another map that is quite fantastic for Reaper harassment. But man, that game should, I think, have been Cuddlebear's. He did a really large amount of damage with those Reapers. He was incredibly effective with them. He kept them alive, but having the supply depot lowered, it's just in an instant. He loses so many more SCVs than he should have. Oh, well, those are the things you gotta live with. All right, we're gonna give Pig another shot to join on in. Let's see if he takes the invite, takes the bait. All right, and we'll get the ready from the players. But again, Frozen Temple, it's another map that's great for Reaper harassment. NoRegreT didn't obviously scout it out immediately, but he did scout it out fairly quickly, about as fast as he probably could have asked for. Seeing that second Reaper, he had time to build his spine collar and everything, and still he struggled to deal with that. So I wonder, Frozen Temple, maybe you just go for the exact same build and make sure you don't have your supply depot lowered. It's definitely a possibility. We're hopping into Frozen Temple though, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you guys there as we check out who's going to be winning game number 4. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, here we are in game number 4, and we're going to be starting up here in the top left-hand corner of the map of the player who's sitting on 14 supply, has a gas geyser finished, and a spawning pool going up. He's going for the cheese for the win. Give it up for Psystorm Gaming's NoRegreT. And his opponent spawning down here in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, the green Terran player from Rival Gaming. Is sitting down 1 and 2, but has definitely made it look a lot closer if it gets to the late game. Can he bring it there? It's Cuddlebear, who, by the way, is not going for an SCV scout, despite knowing who he's playing against, but he is going for the second barracks, exactly what I was talking about. We should be seeing a third barracks being plopped down. There it is, the Reaper opening, the triple Reaper. How does this play out? I can only imagine that this works out quite well for Cuddlebear if, and only if, the timing of this, and I'm going to admit I don't know the timing of this. I've never seen an early pool versus a 3-racks Reaper play. But if NoRegreT does not get over to Cuddlebear's side of the map before the second Reaper pops out, the first Reaper going to be very helpful. And a full wall off is already there, but I mean, those Zerglings are going to be turning into Banelings. The Baneling nest should be thrown down relatively. No, he's not mining any more gas. Wait a second, he's not mining any more gas. Why isn't he mining any more gas? He's still making more Zerglings. He's not going to try and Baneling bust him down? Is he just hoping that there's going to be an early command center from Cuddlebear? well, he's hiding these Zerglings. He's trying to circumvent an early Reaper opening, but as soon as he sees that there are more of these Reapers, the supply depot is down. Oh my god, he raises it at the absolute perfect moment. And this Reaper should be able to push these back. And now NoRegreT should know that this is in fact a Reaper harassment, and this Reaper is going to be able to harass these Zerglings all the way across the map. He has the entire map to work with to chase them around. But Zergling speed finishes up. I guess this is another consideration. Now Zergling speed is finished up much earlier, so NoRegreT, yeah, there's a Roach Warren coming up behind this, which is going to be a nice reaction to the Reapers. But on top of that, these Reapers won't be able to do counter damage for now, because if they are out on the map, they don't have as many of these cliff faces that they can immediately jump up if they get a little bit too far out onto the map. These Zerglings can try and hunt them down or chase them down, and that means that NoRegreT can safely drone up and get up the Roach Warren. This is a very different position, and look, he might even be able to get close to a pick-off, at least softening up some of these units. He's buying himself time. That's the most important thing here. All right, Roach Warren is done. Roaches are now going to be popping on out. Zerglings are going to get cleaned up fairly shortly, as that Reaper count got up to a fairly scary number of that 6 Reapers that Cuddlebear felt pretty confident with before. Command Center also comes up behind this, as well as a factory. Can NoRegreT deal with this? He doesn't have any roaches in the main base right now, but these Zerglings, they can still chase down these Reapers and buy time until the roaches are able to get there. The roaches still can get picked off by Reapers in this high of a number, especially with those grenades coming out, but it does make it a substantially harder proposition to make work. Factories popping up behind this, so Cuddlebear is starting to get up that transitionary tech and really just worrying about the next stages of the game, while he uses these Reapers that he's already made to try and seize control of the map and keep NoRegreT making units rather than any more drones. And NoRegreT going for the early pull, yeah, he's extra safe against taking more damage, but in a sense, he's already done the damage to himself. He made all of these units and didn't really accomplish a whole lot of damage with them. He is on a much lower drone count. He's not going to have a fast lair tech by any means. Oh, Zerglings may be looking to try and cut off the Reapers, not quite able to make it happen. Supply depots are raised once again, and it looks like the bunker is canceled. That's going to maybe delay the natural expansion for a little bit, but I don't know for how long. Cuddlebear's Reaper control has definitely been something that's rather impressive. He still has not lost a single Reaper as far as I'm aware. Yeah, only lost 1 SCV, has killed off 14 of these Zerglings. Has done a pretty good job considering speed Zerglings do move faster than Reapers. And on top of this, you could think that he was dealing with ping problems earlier today, right before the series started. He started down the series 0-1. Oh no, right as the caster occurs, he gets the Reaper surrounded. As soon as I compliment him on his Reaper control, 3 of the Reapers go down. He still has 3 alive, which is enough to get some map control, but certainly not the same degree that he had before. That's unfortunate. But still, I mean, it's not the end of the world. He's got a decent number of these workers, and I think the big thing for NoRegreT is that he wants to use these roaches to push across the map. He's not been droning up at all. He's been sitting on 22 drones, and he's been sitting on these 2 bases, just getting that extra gas geyser for the natural expansion. I guess the second gas geyser to pump out as many roaches as possible. Using these Zerglings to push those Reapers back to make sure that he doesn't get a scout out on these roaches that he's been making. And here we go. Roaches now moving across the map. Zerglings do sacrifice their lives to try and kill off some of the Reapers. I think he gets 2 more of them. Yeah, kills off, or 1 more of them. But this is the big moment. Another Reaper is going to immediately end up falling to those roaches and the Zerglings. And this is the moment where Cuddlebear knows the trouble that he is in for. Does he have a siege check? Does he have any sort of defensive position? He does have Stim finished up. Oh my god, Corrosive Bile goes down very much, cutting it close over there as he moves out the last second. I guess he has Stim, so he can move rather quickly at the last second. But Cuddlebear just has way too solid of a defensive position at the top of this ramp. I think he has too many units. A 3rd command center is even going up behind this. If Cuddlebear needed to, he could pull the boys. He could sacrifice 10-15 workers and still be okay over here. But he doesn't even need to. GG gets called. It's gonna go the ace match, ladies and gentlemen. Cuddlebear ties up the series 2-2. Hot damn. Well, we have a tied up series, and ladies and gentlemen, we're finally gonna hop to that commercial break. 4 games later, I will see you guys in game number 5, the ace match, to determine who's gonna qualify for the final day and who loses their opportunity to move on to DreamHack Montreal. We'll see you guys in a little bit. We'll see you guys in a little bit. There we go. Thank you, X. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Ace match, last game of the day. Spawned down here in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, we have the green Terran player from Rival Gaming. Has definitely made a bit of a splash, I'm sure, for many of you viewers out there. Give it up for Cuddlebear. And his opponent spawning up here in the top left-hand corner of the map. It's the blue Zerg player. Not going to try anything super cheeky so far. No early pools coming out on this map. Give it up for Storm Gaming's NoRegreT. Would love to get flown out from Korea, where he's currently living, out to the amazing, amazing world of Canada, where he originally hails from. Would be a nice paid trip back home to, not exactly to his home, since he's not from Montreal, but still a nice trip back to Canada. But alright, we do have Dasan Station. We have to talk about this map because, of course, it is a map that doesn't pop up very often. And for good reason. This gold expansion is a very vulnerable expansion. I'm very, very hesitant to say that I like this. This is exactly the reason why, all right? There's units that can move around, and we have to realize the way this works out, natural expansion is normally over here for a lot of players. Some people try to take this gold expansion that's on the low ground of your main base. It's a very short rush distance across the map, though. The bigger concern is that there's this area right here where the Reaper or any unit can move behind the mineral line and completely deny mounting. What are Zerglings going to do about this? Oh, NoRegreT wants to deal with this, you ask? He has to knock down these rocks around his main base, take them down, then eventually move over here to catch that Reaper. He has to do all of that. There's no way he's going to be able to do it in a reasonable amount of time. Instead, he has to keep this queen positioned over here for a little bit, which is going to be helpful. But what happens if a cyclone pops out? That's what I want to ask everyone. If a cyclone popped out, the cyclone locks onto that, and then it's essentially dead. Granted, now I do like the fact that NoRegreT is making enough Zerglings to deal with this. He's going to be knocking down these rocks, but look at the cost. He's only on 18 workers. He's effectively committing himself to an all-in, and as soon as Cuddlebear sees all of those Zerglings, he's likely, oh my god, he's actually focus firing down drones. Really nice job of it too. But he's likely just going to be preparing all the defenses. Now, a bit of a scare is the fact that there is going to be a fairly wide wall in, that there's been absolutely zero supply depots dropped down by, no barracks or anything. There's going to be zero wall in on that side. So Cuddlebear could have to deal with a huge flood of Zerglings just popping on in. A couple of Zerglings do clean up those Reapers, 3 of them left behind. I really like that small little bit of micro to make sure he doesn't give up any additional time. Cuddlebear building supply depot the wrong side. No, you need to build supply depots on the other side right now, friend. You need to have some answer. The Zerglings flood on in, and there's absolutely nothing here to defend a siege tank. Very, very far away, barely even in range, and more just doing damage to his own SCVs as the SCVs retreat the wrong way. 18 workers killed so far, down to just 11. Now at the same time, NoRegreT is only down to 15, and with only 2 expansions, he could maybe somehow Cuddlebear can make this work, but this is just way too many Zerglings. Lifting up the siege tank, bringing it to the low ground. I like the decision, but he's already lost almost every single worker he's got. 3 workers left over. Where are they? Here's one of them. The other one's over here by the bunker. None of them are mining. There's not even a single worker mining over the natural. I feel like NoRegreT can leave one worker, or sorry, one Zergling over there just to ensure that nothing else happens over there. Another SCV ends up falling. 2 SCVs left over. Cuddlebear just saying, well, I guess I gotta take the gold because at least I'm walled in over there. There's destructible rocks on this side, it seems like, but I mean, here's the big problem. NoRegreT can just send the Zerglings straight over here. There's nothing stopping him from doing that. As soon as he realizes that the gold expansion was taken, yeah, he sends 2 Zerglings over. What are these 2 SCVs gonna do? Who do you think wins this fight, ladies and gentlemen? I think that NoRegreT's done it. I think that he wins in game number 5. There's no way to deal with this. He just denies mining. That's all he has to do. And behind this, he gets up a layer. He's going to be able to drone up a little bit more, so he's getting up some more drones. Double mule is nice and all, ladies and gentlemen. Siege tanks and a medevac are nice, but they can only do so much. I think Cuddlebear is sort of just coming to terms with the loss that he's now facing, as Siege Shanks are trying to be microed around. He's hoping to maybe pull an MVP coming back from, I think it was probably something close to 10 supply, as he's now sitting at around 14 or 16 supply now, as he continues to try and double pump out those SCVs, but he's not even making units right now. If one roach came out, if one roach was made, well, I guess the Siege Shank could deal with the one roach on the other side of the mineral line. I guess the Spire is just a really smart play. You take out the medevac, Siege Shank can't be maneuver around. You can't really defend this. I mean, what are you going to do? Plant a missile turret right over here, blocking half of the mineral patches, or slowing down mining of an already dwindling economy? Well, Liberator is going to be coming out. I suppose that is a potentially smart play from Cuddlebear to try and abuse NoRegreT in case by some luck he didn't go for a Spire or didn't have a big response to it, didn't get up a Spore Caller or anything. Siege Shank tried to get a little bit of damage done. Is going to be able to potentially pick off the Queen? No, the Zerglings are going to come in to back it up. Cuddlebear is at least getting up a fighting force. Single Zergling on this side and just making sure that the Siege Shank doesn't drop on the other side of the mineral line. Minerals are even starting to get low. Oh, that's a whole other world of problems. Liberator's trying to just make a way around to the natural expansion. NoRegret's about to pop out with all those Mutalisks, though. And those Mutalisks are going to be able to hunt down that Liberator as soon as he catches wind of it. But for now, I imagine he's just going to be going straight over to the natural expansion, taking out the medevac, taking out any Marines that are not inside the bunker. Well, I guess he could just go after he could just gun in on the SCVs. GG gets called. NoRegreT is going to be the last player that advances on out. Congratulations to NoRegreT. Okay, well, that is going to be it for the broadcast, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank you all so much for tuning in, and I want to give a huge shout out to all the players that qualified. First of all, I'm going to try and recite their Twitter handles if I know them all. Do forgive me if I need to look some of them up, but I do implore you guys, check these guys out. They're going to be playing on Saturday. You're going to be seeing more of them. But we had Jon Snow at F3 Jon Snow. McCanning, I think it's just at McCanning. No, it's probably something else. Hold on. McCanning. No, he's probably like SC2 McCanning or something. All right, I'm going to come back to him. I'm going to come back to him in a little bit. Puck at no, not F3 Puck. He's on Root now. At Root Puck, we had NoRegreT at PSI NoRegreT. We have Eric. I don't know his Twitter handle at all. I don't think I even follow him on Twitter because he's a Brazilian player that I don't really know too well. Drunken Boy at COL_Taiga, unless he's changed it. Did he change it at F3 Drunken Boy? Let's check. At F3, hold on, Cole_Taiga. Taiga, Drunken Boy SC2. He's at Drunken Boy SC2. Jim Rising at Root Jim Rising, and Rex, I have no idea. Go check him out. He has a Liquipedia profile, but he is a Taiwanese player. But big congratulations to all those guys. Do give them some love, and be sure to check them out on Saturday. That is going to be it. So we are going to go to one last commercial break as we close things out, and then we will do our final shoutouts and everything. I want to thank you all so much for tuning in. If you guys enjoyed the broadcast, please do also check out the channel, follow it, all that good stuff. I do a lot of casting here, as well as Rifkin and Zombie Grub also doing a lot of the other coverage. And occasionally I'll bring on Tempo, because Tempo is freaking awesome, and I love casting with him, even though he wasn't really available today. So that's going to be it for now. So we'll see you guys after the commercial break for wrapping things up. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, as we close things up, I do want to give a little bit of love to Tenshi, who has been doing all the adminning for the multiple days of this this qualifier. So big love to Tenshi. He's a really fantastic guy, part of the Nerd Street Gamer crew, who also is well known for Nerd Street Gamers putting on Cheesadelphia. Definitely one of the core casters alongside Zigwig. But that is going to be it. I want to give a huge thank you to everyone that tuned in, all the people who resubbed and did all that good stuff today. But I'm trying to think if there's anything else major that I missed, any other subs that I missed. None of the mods are telling me about those, so I want to give a quick thank you to, of course, our sponsors. Sponsor over here over on BaseTradeTV specifically, not for DreamHack or anything like that. But G2A, one of our first sponsors, use the promo code BASE and you'll get 3% off on your games. Corsair Gaming sponsors Rifkin and Zombie Grub. They're pretty happy with them. Chairs for Gaming, it's one of the, they sell DX Racers, one of the chairs that I've been sitting in for this very, very long broadcast today. Actually, not that long. It's only been about 4 hours. But I sat in this chair for things like a best of 69 and had absolutely no complaints because I really do like these chairs. So check them out. Use the promo code BaseTradeTV and you can get $20 off as well as free shipping and handling if you're in the United States or Canada. Besides that, we also have Yord Wood Watches, which sells stylish wooden watches, so do check that out as well. But that is going to be it. We also have, I guess, one last note is there's an Amazon referral link. If you purchase things on Amazon, then you want to support BaseTradeTV without actually having to spend any extra money or anything like that. Make your purchases through the referral link, and we get a portion of that, which is kind of freaking cool. It's an easy way to support things if you so choose to. The link is down below the channel. But thank you all so much for tuning in. My name has been Fear Dragon. It still is, and it still should be in the future. I don't plan on changing anytime soon. But if you guys want to catch me, you can find me at FearDragon64, but also on BaseTradeTV. FearDragon64 is where I still do most of my own stuff. It's on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, etc., Patreon. And I do my own series. I talk a lot and commentate a lot of the North American players in a series that I call NA Ladder Heroes, as well as EU Ladder Heroes, which is something that more recently started up and is sponsored by Blizzard. So do check that out. The monthly final should be coming up in about 2 to 3 weeks-ish, or I'll know the players for them at least, and I'll be scheduling it then. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I think we're good. So with that being said, I think that we're going to hop on out and probably give a little bit of love. I'm gonna double check something really quickly as we close things up, but okay, looks like Nathanius is done streaming, so looking for the person to host, but we're gonna host somebody. If you want to stick around, give them a little bit of love, do recommend you guys use the chat to click on through to find their channel rather than just watching through the host if you're interested in watching, because then you can interact with them in the chat. A lot of streamers like to interact with people, and also just makes them feel a little bit better. But that's going to be it. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I'm trying to think. Oh, the last thing is next things that are coming up for BaseTradeTV in this channel. Let's see. We have Ting. Ting should be happening tomorrow at 5 a.m. Pacific. It's going to be the Ting round of 8. Oh man, 5 a.m. Pacific. 8 p.m. Eastern, so not as bad for Eastern. And of course, really nice for Europe, and I think that's not amazing for Korea, but it's okay-ish. I think it's okay for Korea. Yeah, I think it is. Anyways, that's going to be it. So be sure to tune in for that. That's going to be tomorrow in about... I'm going to do math on stream. Give me a moment. 9 hours. In about 9 hours. So I saved you from doing the time conversion if you needed to. We'll see you there. Have a wonderful night, guys.